well, and really wanted to come give something to the big fans. So I just want to make sure we all know that and get super psyched. So the rest of it's all worked out. I'm going to bring up our very dear friend, Frank DeLilla from New York Con.
Hey Broadway fans, what's up? I am so thrilled today to be here with you. First off, I'm Frank DeLilla from New York One News here in the city. I cover Broadway and off-Broadway day in and day out. And I'm so thrilled to be here because when my buddy Lin-Manuel Miranda calls and asks, will I host a creative talk about his entire career, the answer is absolutely yes. So ladies and gentlemen, you know him. He's a Pulitzer Prize, Grammy Award-winning, Tony Award-winning, Emmy Award-winning superstar, the one, the only, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Hey, Lin. He said, what up, BroadwayCon? So Lin, I figured we'd just kick our conversation off with, obviously we all love theater, we all love Broadway, we all love musical theater in this room. When did you first fall in love with the theater, with Broadway?
Sorry? Oh, you guys know the answers. All right, good night. So listen, I think for me it was, it started with cast albums. My parents had an amazing vinyl collection of cast albums, and I remember seeing my mom would bump Camelot at top volume in the Subaru, Man of La Mancha, so they found Guinevere. And then the first show I saw was Les Miserables. I was 7 years old. 7 is a debatable age to see Les Miserables. I remember crying when Fantine died. I remember laughing with Thénardiers. I remember taking a little nap. I was 7. I remember seeing Gavroche and low-key being furious because I was like, kids are allowed to be on Broadway? And just why can I not be up there already? And then I remember waking up in time for Javert's final moments when he goes, there is no way to go on, and then the music met him there, ba, 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 ba. And I remember being so amazed by that. Like, oh wow, the music met him at the key change of his death. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So that was a very formative one.
Did you always want to write musical theater, or did you want to be an actor first?
No, I wanted to be Gavroche.
Very specific.
And then I wanted to be, and then I think like most people, Broadway is expensive, and I only saw a couple of shows before I started doing school theater. And when I started doing school theater, that's when the floodgates opened for me of like how much was possible. So here's my school theater career. In 6th grade, I have a near lethal dosage of 6 musicals that we did 20-minute versions of. So I'm the son and fiddler, I was a cowboy in Oklahoma, I was an Admiral backup in The Wiz, I was Captain Hook, Bernardo, and Conrad Birdie.
What a season!
What a season, and it's 4 hours long, and our parents had to watch it. And we're gonna do it today! I'm just kidding. And then in high school, I was in Pirate King and Pirates of Penzance. It was Judas and Godspell. I assistant directed Chorus Line, and I directed West Side Story. And then what happened my junior year was really significant, which was that Red came out and I saw it on my 17th birthday. And that was the thing that made me go from just loving musicals to writing musicals, because all the musicals I've listed take place in some other time and in some other land, and I didn't see any access point for me to be able to write one. And then here comes Jonathan Larson, who writes a musical about right now, about our city, about gentrification, about living with HIV/AIDS, and being scared of dying, and being scared of selling out as an artist. It was like all the things I was thinking about, and that was the show that gave me permission to start writing.
So you head to Wesleyan,
yeah,
and you start writing, and you start working on a little show that ultimately becomes In the Heights.
Yes!
Talk a little bit about that experience, Lynn.
Sure. I think a couple of things happened. So I wrote these 2 musicals in high school, and because I love Rent, they sound like a kid trying to write his version of Rent. Like they're okay for a 17, 18-year-old, but they're like rockish musicals. And then I get to Wesleyan. I'm one of a small percentage of Latinos in the school, and my sophomore year I lived in a house called La Casa del Visucampos. And that was a program house for Latino community leaders. You had to write an essay to get into the house. And I'm suddenly there with a lot of kids like me who not only are maybe first in their family to go to college or first or second generation in this country, but have also navigated the same kind of code switching I have. Like, we grew up with both American culture and the very specific Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, Latinidad that we grew up in our homes. And that, I think, having friends that were fluent in everything like I was, culturally, gave me permission to just start writing In the Heights. And I wanted to write a full-length musical. It's an 80-minute one-act. And the only thing the college version shares with the version you might have seen on Broadway or in the movie is 5 notes. In Washington Heights, everything else has changed. And you really, there was the 80-minute one act. There was me working alone with Tommy, Tommy Kail, right out of college for about a year. In the basement of the drama bookshop, and then we started getting the people we needed to make it the best version of itself. So Alex Lacamoire comes aboard, Chiara comes aboard to write the libretto, and that's when the version really starts. Because Chiara really cared about really making the community a character, and then we were and it's a very short distance from Chiara joining us in 2004 to us opening off Broadway in 2007. And so we opened at a theater that no longer even exists, 37 Arts, off Broadway, and we moved to Broadway in 2008. And I know that we froze the show off Broadway almost exactly 18 years ago because Chiara gave birth to her daughter the day we froze the show. We froze the show, she was really pregnant, we went to Burgers and Cupcakes for dinner, and her water broke on the way back. And I know Cecilia had her 18th birthday last week, so I will always know that day.
And of course, In the Heights opens on Broadway, makes Lin-Manuel Miranda a Tony Award-winning superstar, and the rest is history, as they say. Speaking of In the Heights, I think we have a little moment from In the Heights you would like to share with our audience today.
Yeah, so I pulled a total bait and switch on BroadwayCon, you guys. I told them I'd be talking for an hour, but I decided to call my friends to sing you songs instead. I would have needed 20 people to sing songs that span all the songs I've written over the course of my career, but when you call Anissa Foles and Josh Henry, that is like having 20 people. I call my old friend Shockwave from Freestyle Love Supreme. So please welcome Kurt Crowley, the genius Kurt Crowley on keys, Anissa Foles, Josh Henry, Shockwave. And the first song I'm going to sing for you tonight is When the Sun Goes Down from In the Heights.
When the sun goes down, you're gonna need a flashlight, you're gonna need a candle.
I think I can handle that.
When you leave town, I'm gonna buy you a calling card, 'cause I am falling hard for you.
I go back on Labor Day.
And I'm trying to make my way out
West to California,
so we got the summer.
and we've got each other, perhaps even longer.
When you're on your own, suddenly without me, see your face again. And when you're gone, you know that I'll be waiting when you're gone. But you're here with me right now. If we should drift apart, let me take this moment just to say that you're gonna change the world someday. And I'll think of you every night at the same time. When the sun goes down, when the sun goes down, when the sun goes down.
Things about that song. One, we've added the sunrise section from the movie, I hope you noticed, which, again, was John Chu's idea and such a genius idea that I now can't picture the song without that sunrise section. We couldn't dance up the side of a building for you in this space, unfortunately, but that's, he's so brilliant and we've all got to appreciate his brilliance this season with the Wicked movie. The other thing that I'm sitting here and my life is flashing before my eyes. One, Josh understudied Chris Jackson, the original company. I remember when Robin DeJesus said, "Yo, I just did this production of Godspell in Connecticut, and there's a kid named Josh Henry, and he's the truth, and you have to get him in the audition room immediately." And the rest is history.
So amazing, Josh Henry. So you do In the Heights. Your next Broadway show is Bring It On. And speaking of Josh Henry was a part of that, even though he wasn't on stage, right?
That's correct. So Bring It On, as you know if you were alive, is set in the world of competitive cheerleading. And I co-wrote it with the great Tom Kitt and Amanda Green. And the fun of it was you really have to write this like electronic dance music. That's what cheerleading is all about. And so it gave us the opportunity to have singers who were not in the show kind of sing, pre-record the tracks that they're dancing to. And so it was another opportunity to bring Josh in the room, even though he wasn't in that show. And the other fun thing, we're going to sing another song from that for you tonight because it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, and there's never an opportunity to do it, and I'm really grateful BroadwayCon gave us the opportunity. But my first draft of this song is the only time my wife Vanessa has ever been on a demo. Because in the world of cheerleading, if you step over the line, the square that they're cheerleading in, like you get a deduction. And originally my wife's voice was on the demo as the deduction robot. So anytime they step over the line, they do it consciously because they're like, expressing themselves. And so they step over the line, you hear deduction, deduction, deduction. That was my wife's role on the original demo. But we're thrilled to sing Cross the Line for you tonight. If you'll have us. Imagine Brooklyn and Lauren flying through the air while we're singing it. And I'm going to have to sing harmony on this because we're not a full, it's as close to a full squat as we're going to get. All right, y'all, you ready?
How do we know who we are unless we cross the line? highest wall we could find. When we were young and unafraid, we draw a line in the sand just to cross it, just to be alive. We knew we would be alright. I wanna fall just to be alive. I feel like following me tonight. How we know who we are unless we cross the line. We know who we are unless we cross the line. We are unless we cross the line. We know who we are unless we cross. We reach for what we love, and when we fall, we know first place doesn't matter at all. We're reaching higher, and when we find that, oh, everyone just stand up and say we want that.
As long as I'm alive, this moment's mine.
We don't need first place, we know how bright we shine. And if it all goes away tomorrow, we'll be fine. We will leave it all alone. Just leave it alone. Leave it all, just leave it alone. Oh, and we go forward and reach, and we cross that. How do we know we are? This moment's mine. How we are unless we cross the line. We know how bright we shine. Get on the boat, do your thing. Dance, get on the boat, do your thing. Come on, dance, come on, dance. Go dancing, go dancing, go dancing, go, 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 go.
So much fun.
Thus endeth my singing portion of this evening.
More. Well, right, more. Come on. So, I think that's a great segue because next up, so you do bring it on Broadway. Wait, rewind a little bit. You go on vacation within the Heights. You're just opened in the Heights.
Yes.
Won the Tony. You go on vacation. You pick up a book on vacation.
I actually picked up the book before vacation. So I went to the Borders in Columbus Circle, R.I.P. Borders. I love biographies. I'm actually not a big history buff, but I am a big biography buff. I love just spending a whole book in someone else's life. And so, you know, I had written a paper on Hamilton in high school, got my B- on it. I knew just enough to be intrigued by this very well-reviewed book by Ron Chernow called Alexander Hamilton. I start reading it. I actually told my friend Jeremy McCarter about it like the week before we left. But then as I'm reading it on vacation, I immediately just Googled Alexander Hamilton musical because I couldn't believe no one had done it. And I got a lot of entries about Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And that got to work.
So I remember when you were writing this, and I remember being at dinner with you at your agent's house, Sean Zetti's house, and you kind of disappeared that summer day, and you came back.
We were staying at his house.
Yes, and you were like, I'm gonna play for you a song about Thomas Jefferson. And that night you said that this was for like a concept album you were doing. And I asked you, are you gonna be in it? And you're like, no, Frank, I'm not gonna be in it. So like, well, when did it go from concept album to an actual production? And yes, I'm gonna be doing this, I'm gonna play Hamilton.
I think very gradually. I wrote What Did I Miss at my agent's house, and Frank was there. So that was a moment. Mostly pool time, but then I would go away and write. And I think for me it was helpful to think about it as an album because of the way I listen to hip hop. I listen to the hip hop I love. I get more and more each time I listen to it, but the thing that's drilled into your head when you're writing for musical theater is clarity, and everyone's got to get everything the first time. And that's true, but at the same time, I wanted the lyrics to be dense enough that the 5th time you hear it, the 6th time you hear it, the 10th time Howard hears it and is preparing a presentation on it at BroadwayCon, he hears new stuff about it. And so I just, like, it helped me to think about it as an album because I knew I could just really pack it in. And then I became Hamilton really out of, like, expediency. It was sort of easier for me to do it than to teach it to anybody else. And I was very grateful for Javier Munoz, who had played, he was Nami after me. We worked on that role together, and he'd step out and I could watch, he'd do the show and I would watch it with him in it. And we basically did that again for Hamilton. Like I would step out, watch him do it, come in, and that's how we figured the role out.
Obviously, Hamilton turned into a phenomenon. It's still going strong, literally right outside his walls. Coming up on the 10th anniversary, right? We talked a lot about this, your love of Sondheim, your love of Andrew Lloyd Webber, and both of those folks are very much in this piece. Can you just talk about your influence?
Yeah, well, I think Hamilton has some, it's one of those things where the grandparents' resemblance is very clear. And I think it has 4 grandparents. Within the Heights, I always look to the shows that I love for inspiration, particularly structurally. And In the Heights is about a community, so you have to look at the greatest community musical ever written, which is Fiddler on the Roof. Cabaret by Ken Burnett, also about a community changing, like this change from the outside, and how do people react to that external force. With Hamilton, Hamilton's the engine. He is the engine, and everyone is either with him or against him, or with him and then against him. But he is this propulsive thing, and so you look to the shows where it's one character who just barrels through. And so the parents for me for the show are Sweeney Todd, Jesus Christ Superstar, and those are the ones that were Gypsy, because you're with Mama Rose or you're against her. And we really looked at characters with really strong shows with really strong central characters. And particularly Jesus Christ Superstar, you've got Judas as the narrator. You can see that kind of become Aaron Burr becoming Hamilton's narrator. And of course, the introduction to Hamilton owes so much to the prologue of Sweeney Todd. Everyone comes and says, we're going to tell you the story, but you don't know who they are yet, and they don't specify until the end of the opening number, and we really learned from that in terms of the opening number of Alexander Hamilton, which originally was just going to be Burr. That's how I sang it at the White House in 2008, and then we realized it could hold all our characters, and so we split it up and kind of democratized it.
I love it. Well, I think we have a moment from Hamilton you'd like to share.
Yes, one of our all-time great Burrs, who opens not one but 2 companies. He opened the Chicago company and the first national tour in LA. Josh Henry's going to say, wait for it.
Since we don't have all the echoes, can you be the echoes? All right, let's get it. Dear those who writes me a letter every day. I'm keeping the bed warm while her husband is away. He's on the rich side of Georgia, trying to keep the colonies alive. Well, he can keep all of Georgia. Dear Georgia, she's mine. Love doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep loving anyway. We laugh and we cry and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason, I'm by the side, and so many have tried. Well, I'm willing to. Yeah. My grandfather was a fire and brimstone preacher. But there are things that the homilies and hymns won't teach you. My mother was a genius. Father commanded respect. When they died, they left no instructions, just a legacy to protect. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason, I'm still alive. And everyone who loves me has died, and I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Wait for it. strength. It takes and it takes and it takes, and he keeps winning anyway. Change is the game, plays and he raises the stakes, and if there's a reason he seems to thrive, so you survive, and God damn it, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait. Yeah. Like within this renegade, between the cities and the states, it takes, it takes, it takes. We rise and we fall, and if there's a reason I'm feeling like somebody died, I'm in a wait for it. Wait.
So Lynn, so Moana. Moana brings you into the Disney world, if you will. And I'm just curious, were you think about, we're around the same age, and you think about the Disney movies of our childhood, the Alan Menken, Howard Ashman collaborations like Mermaid and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. How much did those inspire you as a writer, as a creator, as a songwriter?
Yes.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
I think anyone who's in this room knows that Little Mermaid is the reason I'm here talking to you. Because I saw a Caribbean calypso number when I was 9 years old underwater, and my brain exploded, and the pieces still haven't come back together. It was the most formative, most transported I had ever felt in a movie, and I wore out my Beauty and the Beast, and I wore out my Aladdin. Like those were my and also Little Shop of Horrors. Like Ashton Menken, like my guys. And so when I interviewed for the job, it was before Hamilton had come out, and it was the directors of the original Little Mermaid. It was Ron and John, and I went in there and said, I'm here because of you. I'm writing music because you made that movie, and I was very lucky to get the job. I found out I got the job the same day I found out we were having our first child, baby's playing lessons, and then I was basically writing it while I was in Hamilton because I got hired in 2014, in spring of 2014, and then so all my demos are all Hamilton loves. So Pippa Sue sang the first How Far I'll Go. Chris Jackson sang all of the Maui stuff, and then we also got to play Moana's dad on the album. But the demos were terrible because I'm singing into like my headphones in my dressing room. But I happen to have world-class singers around me. So Hamilton and Moana are very much born like at the same time. They're siblings.
I mean, you're a creative genius. You talk about doing Hamilton at the same time of writing Moana. As an artist, how do you tackle everything all at once? Like, how does your brain work? Let's get into your brain for a second.
Well, I think that for me, the weird thing about Hamilton, and Josh can attest to this too, is it requires all of your focus. It's actually a yoga. Like, you can't be anywhere but inside of Hamilton once you're in Hamilton. If you space out for a second, someone's gonna hit you in the head with a chair. You're gonna fall off one or two turntables. So that was, while the Hamilton mania was starting and it was getting harder to get in the building, and like just because people wanted to be around it for the best of reasons, like my refuge became writing Moana and doing the show. And so, I wasn't going to parties, I wasn't going to like hang out with all the crazy famous people who were coming to see the show. I had songs to do. So I'm grateful it came when it did, because it kind of kept all the noise outside. I was like, all right, great that that's happening. I'm literally outside the building, but I have to figure out what this crab sounds like. So every time I get a show up, I mourn writing it. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm done writing it. I have a little kind of like post-blues. I remember feeling that very acutely because I'd spent 8 years writing Heights, and then I suddenly wasn't writing in Heights anymore. And with Hamilton, there was no time for that. I had Moana songs to do.
Well, speaking of Moana songs, that's a great segue for Anissa, right?
Yes, let's do it. I can't wait for these people to see how far goes. Yeah!
I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember, never really knowing why. I wish I could be the perfect daughter, but I come back to the water no matter how hard I try. Every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I long to be. See the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know. If I go, there's just no telling how far I'll go. I know everybody on this island seems so happy on this island. Everything is by design. I know everybody on this island has a role on this island, so maybe I can roll with mine. I can lead with pride, I can make us strong. I'll be satisfied if I play along with the voice inside sings a different song. What is wrong with me? See the light as it shines on the sea, it's blinding, but no one knows how deep it goes. And it seems like it's calling out to me, so come find me and let me know what's beyond that line. When I cross that line, the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know how far I'll go.
So Moana obviously happens. You also did a movie called Vivo.
Yes!
And speaking of going on a journey like that song is, Vivo went on its own journey of getting to where you ultimately got it. And you also, it was a bit of a Heights reunion too.
100%. You know, Vivo was my first attempt into animation, actually. I met with the folks at DreamWorks, and this is back right after Heights. I told them it's my dream to write an animated musical, and we went down the road with this story called Vivo that was written by a writer named Peter Barzini, and it had a totally different plot line, but I'd written a bunch of songs for it, and it just never got me. Like many projects, like we wrote a bunch of songs, we got it as far as we could go, and they said we're not making it, and we said okay. So then once Hamilton happened, everyone was like, we love Hamilton, what else do you have? And I was like, I got a trunk full of songs about these Cuban musicians that no one is doing anything with. And we got Kiara aboard, so I got to write with Kiara, and Kiara wrote the screenplay, and Alex Lacamoire did the music direction and wrote the score. So it's a full-on Heights reunion, and I'm really proud of it. And one of the things that I love was that Kiara added this character that was not in the original version named Gabby. It was based on her sister who was named Gabby. And Gabby is just like, she's just the kid we all would be if no one ever told us we were cringe or we tried too hard. She's just like unapologetically herself and is proud of it, and I love her so much. It's so fun to write for her. And so I wrote a song for her called My Own Drum, and we're going to do it today. So Lisa Jones singing My Own Drum from Vivo.
I pass to the beat of my own drum. I'm a wild in the world full of ho-hum. I'm a wild young lady, but you know some. I'd rather be at home with my own drum. I pass to the beat of my own drum. I'm a wild in the world full of ho-hum. I'm a wild young lady, but you know some. I'd rather be at home with my own drum. I had to be a lean, but I worked the rental. I play the tambourine, but I'm never gentle. Oh, see what I mean? That was accidental. But now that we're a team, I'll be instrumental. Instrumental. See what I did there? I made a pun. I'm having fun. I'm never done. I'm just the one. I'm passing the beat of my own drum. I'm a wild in the world full of ho-hum. I'm a wild young lady, but you know some. I'd rather be at home with my own drum. Extra, extra. Read all about it. I am extra, extra. The kid that the other kids can't get next to. I got my own seat on the bus. I've always been a me, not an us. You're out of 10. I need you out of 3. Ha, try it again. I gotta be me, yo. I'm at a 10. I gotta be free and I got a friend where I'm doing it. That's the beat of my own drum. I'm a wild in the world full of ho-hum. I'm a wild young lady, but you know some. I'd rather be at home with my own drum. So long. Wow. I am over smoke solo. I speed up when the world's in slow-mo. Make it up as I go when I don't know. And I know it seems like I'm lonely. People assume that I'm lonely. Look at the stuff you consume that you know me, homie. You don't know me, I'm in the zone. We bounce to the beat of our own drum. We're wild in the world full of ho-hum. I'm a wild young lady, but you know some. I'd rather be at home with my own drum. I'm a bounce to the beat of my own drum. I'm a wild in the world full of ho-hum. I'm a wild young lady, but you know some. I'd rather be at home with my own drum. Bounce, yeah, bounce, yeah. Where'd you go, honey?
And win on the recorder.
For third grade recorder lessons, that's all I retained.
So then you recently worked on the film Mufasa, which is the prequel to The Lion King, and you're with that property. You're picking up where Sir Elton John and Sir Tim Rice have left their mark, and you're taking on these classic characters, and you're also taking on their voices. What was that experience like?
It was incredible. I mean, I said yes to the job because Barry Jenkins was directing. I think he's one of the brilliant directors of our time. And I just wanted to be in that room, and I wanted to. He'd never worked on a musical before, and the script was so good. And so it's funny, like, I didn't feel like I didn't know those characters. I feel like we all know those characters so well. I'm a Lion King completist. I've seen the direct-to-video sequels, Justice for Lion King 1.5. I watched The Lion Guard. Have you heard Chris Jackson in The Lion Guard? So good. So those songs are great. So to me, The Lion King didn't feel like one movie that was intimidating to follow up. It felt like this shared universe, especially, the Broadway musical On This Block that is just so brilliant and really expanded the language. So, I did two things. I said I need to work with Lebo because I knew that he is the voice, the connective tissue of all of the different Lion King stories and the music, and what he brings to the music is only he can bring. And then the other thing was, getting a chance to write the kinds of Disney songs that the Disney movies I'd worked on just didn't have. So to get to write a really great villain song for Mads Mikkelsen, I mean, like if you ever pictured a lion smoking a cigarette, that's what I pictured. While I was writing this tune, just like, bye-bye. And that was delicious to write. And then the other thing I hadn't had a chance to write was like the old school, early 90s, like Disney ballad, like that Peebo Bryson shit, like that Beauty and the Beast, A Whole New World, Kiss the Girl, which I rewound 1,000 times as a kid. I really wanted to write one of those, and the script created an amazing opportunity for it, because there was a line of dialogue where Surami is cornering Mufasa, forcing him to confront his feelings. She says, I know it's you. And I was like, thank you, that's the title, I'll take it from here. And here to sing it is Josh Henry and Amazing Balls.
Ever since you appeared, I've been running from something deep inside. It's worse than I feared, 'cause I look in your eyes and I can't hide, and I push you away.
Don't push me away.
And the feelings come back just twice as strong. I don't know what to say,
You know just what to say.
but I know that I'm right where I belong.
You know just what to be.
I don't know
the way you see.
you see me.
The way you feel when you're with me. Beside me, don't hide from me anymore. Tell me it's you, I know it's you.
What do I say? Where do I go? How do I know you'll feel the same?
Tell me it's you, I know it's you.
Why to know, letting you go, letting you know it's in me. Everywhere that I roam, I remind myself not to overstay. Every time I find home, something happens to take that home away. But you see what I'm seeing,
I see you
as you lead with the strength that shines right through. Ooh, like the queen, the true queen. Don't let anyone take me away from you.
Tell me it's you, I know it's you.
Say it again, tell me I'll always be with you.
Tell me it's you, I know it's you.
Say it again, tell me you're always with me.
You know just where to be.
Now I know
The way you see.
I see
You love and feel when you're with me. Beside me, beside me.
Say it again, tell me the world with fear.
Say it again, tell me the words I wanna hear. Say it again, open your eyes and hear me go. I know it's you. I know it's you.
Beautiful. I want to say one music nerd thing about that song, because I know Howard is probably here and he likes to dissect and deconstruct my music on YouTube, and he does it very beautifully. There's a weird thing with the Mufasa songs, which is most times when you change keys in a song, you go up because you want like the music to lift and go exciting. This is the only one I can think of where the two times we change keys, we change down. So I always wanted a brother, they go from being like, oh kids, to I always wanted a brother. You shift down, and I think that feels like them becoming more themselves. And we did it again, like I loved it so much, and I always wanted a brother, that we did it again for Tell Me It's You, because they're going from like not fully embracing who they are and how they feel into who they are and how they feel. So it's this, the rare down, key change down. Sorry, that was my music nerd great moment. We can go back to you later.
Getting the idea, like you said, from the script and then building that song. You know, did the melody come to you first, or did you pull that idea from the script and then write something out, and then the melody came with the lyric?
I think the melody came to me with the phrase, tell me it's you, I know it's you. I think I had that, and then I had to earn it with the rest of the song. You know, sometimes you get a really great idea for like one line, and it's like, okay, now I have to earn this line because this is really cool. So what is the opposite of this so that this feels surprising? I always wanted a brother was the opposite. I actually started with a bass groove that Nicholas Bertel had made when he was doing early explorations with, on the movie and what the movie could sound like. And so I grabbed that bass line, started running over it, and the first thing I got was, hey, did your mama say you could be out this late? So I had that, and I really liked that. And then I started writing the story elements beforehand to build into that. And then I always wanted a brother came out of nowhere. Like it just felt like the most different place we could go. And that I have no explanation for. Like sometimes your job is to just build the runway so that the plane of inspiration knows where to land. And I built the first verse, and I built the first chorus, and I didn't know where I was going. And then that came out of nowhere. And I'm very grateful it did, because now everybody knows I was in it. But yeah, so I mean, it's every song is totally different. Like just like every birth, like every story is totally different.
You recently dropped an incredible album, Warriors. I take it everyone in this room has it on their phone like I do. Let's talk about your relationship with the film, because correct me if I'm wrong, this was an idea that popped up way back when, and you said, "Oh, I'll never write that." Correct?
Yes, that's right. I had just written In the Heights, and a college classmate of mine, Phil Westgren, he was working as an assistant to producer Larry Gordon, and he said, "I work for Larry Gordon, Warriors the musical." Just sent me a cold email, and I went, "I've seen the Warriors more than any other movie. It'll never work." And I wrote him this email why I thought it would work, but like just the fact that he suggested it kind of was like incepted me, and it just stayed in my brain. And I would find when I wasn't working on anything, I would be thinking about, well, maybe if we did this, well, maybe if we did that. To the point where when I finally was not in Hamilton anymore and looked up and thought, what do I want to do next? You know how in Inside Out, she's got like the different islands in her brain. There's like Friendship Island and Family Island. I like had a whole Warriors Island that they're just kind of quietly percolating. And I thought I knew, I figured out how to do it. So it was a couple of years getting the rights from Paramount. And then I said, I can't do this alone. I need someone much smarter and cooler than me. And so I called my old friend Isa Davis, who was in, she was in Casting Strange the same year we were in The Heights. And our casts were really close when we were kind of navigating the off-Broadway to Broadway thing together. So we've been friends since then, and she's really close friends with Kiara. And she had never seen the movie. And so that was great too, because she had a sort of a critical distance on the structure of it that I didn't have. It imprinted on my brain when I was 4 years old, and it was so amazing to have her working on it with me. And we've been writing it for the past 3 years, and we came out with the album last October. These guys are off the album. Kurt was our vocal director for the entire album, and all of the I just kept calling Kurt and being like, okay, you're going to be in a room with Shinsia tomorrow. Okay, you're going to be in a room with Marquis tomorrow. Like, it was just increasingly ludicrous assignments.
I mean, the artists on the album, we've talked about this. Unbelievable. Lauren Hill, Billy Porter, folks on this stage. I mean, how'd you get all these folks on your album, Lynn? How'd you get them all?
Several.
Yes, he's Lynn, that's right. Yeah, I guess I'm answering your question.
Also, there was love for the movie. Nas, this is like Nas's favorite movie, and so when he came aboard as the executive producer, he really helped us out in terms of explaining what this was to artists who, are used to making their own albums and writing their own lyrics. Like,
because Lauren Hill, she doesn't record anyone else's stuff, right? That's like
it's very rare.
Yeah.
A couple of covers. I mean, she covered "Killing Me Softly," and it's the version we listen to now. So when she does it, it's really amazing. And we were so great. I managed to meet her manager, we sent her the demo. We sent her actually a demo with Denisa singing the song. So Denisa singing "If You Can Count," and that's the version Ms. Hill heard. And then we just got a Dropbox one day, and it had all these vocals, and she brought in her own folks and brought in background vocalists and added to the harmonies of what was already there. And so what you hear is a mix of what we originally sent her and then of this incredible tapestry she sent us back. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I think we have a song from Warriors.
So this is the first time a Warriors song has ever been performed in public. And the thrill is you will hear the voice of the twice Oscar-nominated Coleman Domingo over the speakers, and he was still breathing, starring Miss Anissa Foltz.
Unified the city in discrete pieces. Cyrus was the one and only, the streets Jesus. Cyrus said you kids of Babylon, you need your demon. Cyrus told these kids, wake up and start dreaming. Some people shout Cyrus, that's 1:15 this evening. You're forcing me to follow reason, go up in the evening. Trying to focus, but we haven't even had a dream. What are you doing until everything you believe in? But you're still breathing. Cyrus is still breathing. Cyrus, I'm sorry, you keep the peace, but we still sleeping. Acid, you're dreaming peace, but it's killing season. Won't stop until the trees and the sun the seas bleed. All they need is me, us to the warriors. Who are the warriors? Cleon, wake the fuck up and tell me what your story is. Watch what you say, may I sin and forgive me, but it's decided, we decided you get to live, see? Cleon, you in a pickle. How are you gonna start talking right now?
I'm not to do this. I didn't do this. I never do this. Cut me, roll my body with bruises. That's what the truth is.
Tell me the truth, man.
The truth is, you had me confused with my accusers. I saw them shooting at Cyrus and was the criminal. The shooter had a banana breaking me under a cruise.
So I see it was real.
That's all he was doing. I came here to be a part of that motherfucker ruin. We came to hear the truth and be moved in your movement. We came over from Boston, see the way all we do it.
So it's no less than the truth, man.
Fucking idea, man. Come on, set me free and let me see it, let me breathe again. I'm the one who gets it from all the way uptown. Now I'm the one you got from the battle in America. Gun first and gun. If I ain't pushing it with my gun, you better kill me and have me done. You know what we say, I'm a run. Before we kick it, you watching, you would be sitting here with the woman you use. So I'm gonna tell you, let me let you get it. So anyone else done it. Do what they tell me, and you believe it as a treatment. I'ma help you find a one of you so we can still go and rebuild the world until we reach some peace. Cyrus was thinking, what are you doing? Kill everything you believe in. You mean it? What are you doing? Kill everything you believe in. Give everything. What are you doing? Kill everything you believe in. You breathe, you keep breathing. You keep believing.
Come with me.
That's Anissa Foltz.
So then, when are we getting a Warriors musical on the stage? Right?
Well,
Break some news.
yeah, I have no news to break. I can tell you that, like Lisa and I are working on it. We're talking to folks and we're figuring out how to get to the stage. We definitely want to come to the stage. Yeah, that's like what I'm working on this year. That's like my focus.
Well, my friends, we're coming to the end of our conversation. I know. But Lynn, final question for you. You know, Broadway, this season has been so exciting on Broadway. It's been such a vibrant season with so many great stuff coming up in the spring. What excites you about the current season? What have you loved and what are you looking forward to coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a ton. I'd love to maybe happy ending. So wonderful to get new musicals that we just, it's amazing to walk in and have no idea what's going to happen and then just be so floored and moved. And there's a lot of stuff coming in the spring I'm really excited for. I'm getting to do my first comedy. I'm in All In down the street. And for me, this is like I'm learning so much. I haven't been in a non-musical since college. And to get to sit next to some of the funniest people alive, from A.B. Bryant to Annalie Ashford to David Cross, Tim Meadows, Andrew Rannells. And just like every night I'm learning something new about how comedy works and the tension and release and how it relates to songwriting for me. And so I just feel like I'm getting another tool to put in my DeVry technical toolkit as a writer. And yeah, just the writing is so funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this year. I'm excited to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Hamilton with you guys. I know there's some rumor that we're doing some Taylor Swiftian tour. I have no Taylor Swiftian tour for you. But what I have is just, we're gonna do lots of little shit all year. We're gonna try to do Ham for Hams. We're gonna try to do, there's gonna be lots of stuff. I didn't want to do one big thing. I wanted to just celebrate all year with you guys. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I get to write for a living. I would be writing these songs even if I was still teaching at Hunter and no one was listening to them. But the fact that anyone cares what I'm writing, and I've gotten to work with the amazing artists I work with, and the fact that you guys come out means the absolute world to me. So I just feel very, very grateful in this moment.
Give it up for